Sometimes. Okay, so we were talking, and you asked me about the devil.
Yes.
And why he was evil and bad and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I explained it to you that it was about what?
It was about because he got jealousy and we were God's favorite.
Right. And he felt that he knew better than God.
Mm-hmm.
And so he tried to prove that. But then after I said that and I asked you if you understood that, what did you say?
I said, well, if you think about it, it's actually, people always take the...
Well, you said it was good?
That,
maybe it's a good thing that he did it. Okay, well, what do you mean by that?
I mean it because if you put it into the right perspective and you really think about it, without the devil, our world would have been perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Everything perfect. You wouldn't even have to try. It would just be spot on perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But the little mistakes that we do is what makes the world perfect. And we don't have to be perfect.
Okay.
And if we were perfect, how weird would you think that would be?
Well, I mean, we were made perfect to begin with, so with that, why shouldn't we have stayed perfect? Or what do you think things would have... That's a little deeper than you might think about, but do you think that we would have stayed perfect?
Still no.
Why?
Because there's always going to be somebody who messes up,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. And it doesn't even have to be today. It could have been before. It could be right now.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine right now, today, in this world, everything was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, someone just got angry and decided they wanted to make the world unperfect.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be something that's going to make the world imperfect.
Right.
And that's what makes the world perfect, by it being imperfect. I mean, I don't mean today that the world is perfect with this COVID stuff and all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still great. Not exactly. But we still have a life.
Mm-hmm.
And even the unperfect things is what tells us imperfect
Mm-hmm.
is what tells us what we should and shouldn't do. Because
Sure.
if we were already perfect, we wouldn't even have to learn. We wouldn't even have to take a test because our brain would already be smart enough.
Mm-hmm.
If we are perfect, what would even be the point of going into school?
Well, that's true. And that's why, I mean, when, with mythology, with the stories that the Bible gives us about Adam and Eve, that's part of the reason why he was so upset, because they ate of the tree of knowledge. They found out things that he didn't want them to know. And that's what Satan kept telling them. And so it's possible that we could have stayed perfect for a long time ago, or at least until God felt we were ready to handle the truth about things. But suddenly, we saw that we were naked and all these other things happened. But I do see what you're saying. So, in a way, are you almost saying if it weren't for Satan, we wouldn't know bad, we wouldn't know evil and appreciate? So do you feel that it's necessary to know the certain things, like certain bad things, like that people are mean or that you can be mean? And then I'm talking about everybody. I'm not just talking about you, even though you're a little mean little girl sometimes. But
I mean, just think about it. I mean, if we didn't know that we were being hurtful or mean to someone, because no matter what, even if you're perfect, you still will have feelings and still would do some things every here and then.
Right.
I mean, even God is perfect, and He's still done things. that he probably regrets up to this day still.
Preach, girl. You hear him? You hear it, Lord? Okay, we're going.
And so, if God has done messed up things,
Mm-hmm.
of course we would do messed up things.
Okay.
Because we take after him. We do whatever he does, basically.
Okay.
We do what he tells us to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if Satan didn't exist, if Satan didn't go bad, then God or Jesus wouldn't even, or God wouldn't crucify his own son,
Mm-hmm.
or something like that.
No, you're preaching. You're preaching. Keep going. You're
But
doing good.
if God didn't do that, if Satan didn't exist,
Mm-hmm.
not even our sins would be completely forgiven. I mean,
I'm gonna throw something at you that you're too young to handle, and I'll explain it later. But, if you said that, say that again.
if God, like, if Satan didn't even exist, then God would not have crucified his own son, and all our sins may not even be forgiven.
So we wouldn't have known love the same way.
No.
Okay.
And then, because we like, because people, if Jesus wasn't crucified,
Mm-hmm.
none of our sins, well, maybe some,
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. If Satan had never come, we may not have never have sinned.
maybe, but like I said earlier, there's always going to be somebody, something he messes up.
Okay.
And God's the most perfect human being, thing, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that is alive up today, and that's been alive for the past thousands of centuries.
Yes.
And on and on and on.
Something like that too. Yes.
And he's the one who's done the least mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you know he messes up,
Mm-hmm.
he's messed up at least once, which means,
many times.
of course, we wouldn't be perfect.
Right. Okay. You're selling me on this so far. So, shoulda, coulda, woulda. We've already been down that road. So then, we know he died for our sins. We know
Yes.
that was the ultimate price. We know that that's how God shows that he really, really loves us. Why do you think so many people don't recognize all of that today?
Because they don't even think. They just think every little bad thing that happens, it has to be blamed on them. They don't even think to stop. They don't think to take a break and think, well, what is this? Maybe this could be the reason.
Mm-hmm.
They don't stop to think. Just one bad thing, they will blame it on somebody.
Well.
And, I mean, even people won't just blame it on somebody, they will blame it on themselves. And they get mad because they did something wrong. They will get mad at Satan, thinking that it was all his fault. If he hadn't even sinned, nothing would even go wrong.
Right.
But things still would go wrong.
Because I personally don't think enough people blame themselves. They don't take ownership.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a good thought on that. Okay. Then again, how would you? You said earlier that everything was sad, and everything because of COVID, because of other things that's going on in the world, right?
But not everything's sad.
Okay.
There still are things, little things that can make you happy.
Okay. Like?
your family, getting to play with your neighbors, even just seeing a friend that you haven't seen since COVID started would still bring a smile to your face. Mm-hmm. And I mean, people think the worst of COVID, think that if COVID didn't happen, this, I could go to a cooking camp and do all this fun stuff during the summer. But you don't have to go to a cooking camp just because you want to learn to cook. You can put it into your own hands. Trust yourself and be responsible to cook yourself. You can find all these fun activities to do without thinking of the worst.
And without putting yourself in this type of situation. Okay. What
And that's a lot of reasons why a lot of violence is going on today, because people are getting angry and getting upset because they can't do anything.
And they want to blame someone. And not just themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that type of thought process, that type of understanding of what we need to do to be happy during this time, do you think that adults can apply that to their lives? Because it's a little different. I mean, I know it's hard for you guys with online schooling and not being able to see your friends and everything like that. I get that, and I appreciate that because you guys are doing really good. But how do you think?
I say no, because kids really have that imagination that keeps them occupied, keeps them busy. But most adults, I mean, you still have a great imagination, but most adults lose it. They don't think of, you could just learn to draw, or you could do this.
Right.
They just think this is the worst case possible. There's nothing I can do. Work is horrible right now because I have to do it online. And it's so stressful. Kids are driving me crazy. There's nothing to do.
Right.
When you could do something. You could have fun. And my parents, they aren't like, they're being great in this. But not all parents, and not just parents, but not all people are with the dogs.
With the what?
With the dogs.
Oh, yeah. Well, because a lot of adults are scared. They're looking at it more of, okay, they're looking more of it as what's going to happen to us in the long run. Whereas kids, which is an amazing gift, you all are thinking, what about this moment? You know, you just want to have fun. That's why y'all dumb, but at the same time smart, because you're like, I want to play. I want to do this. You can't do this right now. All right, well, let's do this instead. Oh yeah, there's going to take more involved in that. But see, and that's where the adults, we lose it because we are stupid too. So, well, huh? No, I'm equally as stupid. You will never hear me say that. No, again, like I said earlier, I make bad choices sometimes. I get scared a lot. I worry about you and Sean as if you were my own children, which basically you are, because you're my niece and nephew and I love you to death. And so yeah, I get scared and do things stupid sometimes. But I've told you this before. You know what keeps me grounded?
What?
Well, there's a Bible verse that states that Jesus wanted the children to come to him because they would lead the way, right? So you're leading the way. You are our tomorrow. And so that makes me happy. And so, and that positive attitude is what I hope one day will not be needed, because everybody will have that attitude, and it won't even be a positive or a negative. It'll just be an attitude of greatness,
happiness,
and love. So, okay. Well, you did. That was really unexpected. Like I said, I just had to. As soon as you started talking, I was like, why aren't I filming? I'm trying to cook, but I can't cook because I can't find something. I might have to go borrow something from Mr. Alex. But
that's fine, because neighbors are always there.
That's true. So, okay. Well, I am going to stop filming. Thank you, everybody. It's been real, y'all. Peace.